Hi, Mrinalini.
Hey, Kristen.
I am so grateful to be sitting down today with you to get to interview you instead of coach you and train you and process with you, just to really just get to deep dive into your story.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm a grad now, so
You are a
I'm
grad.
excited to talk about my story.
You've gotten kicked out of the nest.
I can fly on my own, so that's
Oh,
great.
you certainly can fly on your own. You can soar. So I'm going to start with properly introducing you. Dr. Mrinalini Garve is a physician turned career transformation coach. As a matter of fact, she is America's only career coach for South Asian professional women, and she's the founder of Unshackled Career Woman. Mrinalini is a mother of a 4-year-old archaeologist who retrieves dinosaur bones from their local park on weekends, and she is in the midst of divorce. She is also the poster girl for what to do, how to show up, and what you can become when divorcing. Just to set the stage, I'm Kristen Noel, co-founder of the Best Self Intuitive Divorce Coaching Program. My partner, Bill Miles, and I have been working with Mrinalini through the early stages of her divorce. We know from firsthand experience through our own respective divorces with children that there are few life events that will rock your world quite like divorce, and how critical the first 100 days of the process are. I want to thank Mrinalini not only for being here today to share her journey with us, but for having allowed Bill and I to ride on her magic carpet. We both feel that we were invited into a sacred experience. Mrinalini, I love where you stated in one of your bios that you are a multiple-time career changer, which I think so aptly personifies your willingness to pivot, to shift, and to expand with life. And I imagine that your divorce has called many of those skills into play. I would love to just, let's just start at the beginning. Like, could you briefly describe for us what was your life like and where were you at when you reached out to us? What was in your head? What were you feeling was like possible and impossible? And what were your fears? Just take us back.
Absolutely. I think we all come to a point in a relationship where we feel that we need more, and we have been settling for what we had experienced for many years. And there came a point in my life where both my wife and I decided that we can't be together. It was not an easy decision because we've been together for 10 years and we have had a lot of great experiences. But then at the same time, there was also this underlying dissatisfaction, the feeling of not being understood. And when we came to this point, it really felt hard, especially because I have a 4-year-old now. And the most important thing I wanted was to have all the tools to help him get through that process. Because as an adult, I know that I'll figure it out, but I didn't want to struggle. And when I came to know about your program and I had my first call with Bill, I just felt that, here is something that is going to help me go through this journey and get to the other side with more confidence, with all the tools that I need to make sure that I am okay, but most importantly, my son is okay.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack. I remember when we were on one of our first calls, I wasn't even really sure you were going to get divorced.
That is true. That is true because it is confusing, right? Because you look back and you think about all the good times that you had, and then you still feel that you are not there yet. There's something that's missing, but you can't pinpoint it, and then you're not sure if this is the right way to go, and then you start feeling guilty. Have I tried everything? And then you blame yourself. Maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. And it is a confusing time. it is a confusing time. I mean, ours is a mutual decision. Even then, I felt confused what was going on. I wasn't sure what's going to happen too, but I got more clarity as we worked together.
Well, it's such an incredible time of upheaval. I mean, literally, I mean, divorce just encompasses everything, right? And I would say one thing to add to this confusion is then also the sense of shame, this sort of sense of shame that comes up that can often trigger people to run back and to just say like, whoa, this is too much. This is just too much. It might just be easier to go back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I constantly asked myself whether I should go back, make it work somehow. Yeah, and not take this step toward really figuring out what it means to go through divorce, what it means to really focus on what you truly want, and also allowing the space for the other person to go through
Right.
whatever journey that they need to go. So it was, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I don't blame you because I was in that stage where I wasn't sure.
Right. And that's okay. There's no judgment to what you decided, but it was just interesting because you are a coach. So you have a lot of skills, and I laugh because, coaches need coaches, therapists need therapists, doctors need doctors, because even as coaches, we can get in our own way, right? First of all, I want to commend you for knowing that you needed some guidance, you needed some help, you needed someone to hold your hand and to stand beside you. But then I would just ask you, building on that, what were some of just sort of like the surprising discoveries or revelations that you made through this sort of intuitive coaching approach?
How much time do we have, Kristen? I had so many revelations. I think at the beginning stages, there's a lot of blaming the other person, blaming the situation, blaming circumstances, blaming yourself. And you really don't have clarity on what exactly is going on. But working with you, the one biggest revelation I had for myself was that divorce is an internal journey. You really have to explore what is going on inside of you. Why did you even come to this point where you need a divorce? What were some of your own contributions to it, but without feeling the blame, because you can easily blame yourself and then stress yourself out and feel guilt and shame all over again. And then you might feel like, oh, I need to just forget this and go back and make my marriage work. But I think working with you and Bill, and you have done such a great job with helping me really own up, my own stuff, what I brought to the table, but also looking at the relationship objectively about, what was missing and what was under my control and what wasn't. And that was the biggest revelation, because it was at that point I realized that I can own only my contributions. I cannot change anything else. Mm-hmm. So that was one huge thing for me. And then the second thing that was really big for me was to set an example for my child. If I can also add here, as we were doing this work together, I realized that I was a poster child of people pleasing. So I would give in, and without really realizing whether I really want to say yes or not. So the one thing I don't want my son to do ever in his life is to please people, because I have gone through it, and it is not fun. It is not fun for me. It is not fun for my partner, and it is not fun for my son either. So being able to break out through that cycle of not staying in that pattern where I am constantly pleasing and I am constantly bending backwards, resenting, then saying yes to things that I didn't want to do. It is very painful. So working with you, these two were big things, understanding that I don't need to say yes. And that's what I have been doing, and breaking out of that pattern, and also giving an example for my son that you have to choose your happiness. You cannot bend backwards to make others happy.
Right. I mean, that's absolutely huge. It's monumental. It's massive. It's everything. When we're in pain, we often want to reach for something, anything to just make the pain stop,
Yes.
right? Make it stop, make it go away. And that's why, we talk ourselves into staying in relationships, staying in jobs, whatever, right? Staying where we shouldn't be staying, trying to squish ourselves into places we no longer fit, not allowing ourselves to see what needs to be seen, right? So, our approach and your approach from a different angle, even with your clients with business, it's like, we're not here to create band-aids. Yes, we're here to help you get through to the other side of your divorce and to navigate that in the best, most grounded way that you can do that. But we're here for sustainable solutions, right? You've probably experienced this yourself in other ways, but I know that when I start to heal something, I break a pattern, and then I start to see, oh, I was doing that here, here, and here. And it just becomes this tool that I then apply to all these other things, to all these other aspects of my life, right? And I'm so grateful to you for bringing up the point about your son, because, I was actually my next question. I was going to ask you about him, but we're mirroring for our children. They're little energetic sponges, whether they're 4 years old or they're 14 years old. They're picking up on everything, and we're modeling for them. And so it is this opportunity, right, to break these lineage cords, and not shaming and not blaming and not berating yourself, right? So let's talk about your son. Let's talk about, how do you think his experience of the divorce has been because of your willingness to do this work? And what do you think would have been different if you hadn't done that? Maybe just speak about your relationship with him through this process.
So, first of all, I was terrified for him. And that's when, Bill and you offered your hands. I said, yes, 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 I'm coming with you. I really want to get to the other side of the bridge that Bill would keep saying. And I'm like, what the heck is on the other side of the bridge?
You're like, where is this bridge? Where is this bridge?
Where is the bridge? How do I even start? But I trusted the process, and you bring this calmness to the process, and this expertise and knowledge to the process, that it was just easier for me to do the work, follow the processes that you teach me. But especially with my son, having those conversations with him, right? How do I talk about divorce to him? Because one of the things that I shared with you, my goal is to help my child get through this without damaging him. And you gave me that language to speak with him. Have there been meltdowns? Of course. But because of the support that you have given me, I knew exactly how to support him. And you also told me that you don't always need words, right? Just holding him tight and sitting with him and being there with him, giving him that space to express. It was just amazing. And he is also now opening up to this idea of having two houses, and that he could be loved in both the houses. And it's just great, and we are spending so much more time together, because working with you also gave me that clarity of what my priorities are, which is a positive side effect of working with you. And having my own business has also helped me design my life to be there for him. So when he's with me, I am 100% with him. I don't even look at my cell phone. I just don't feel the need. So I'm 100% present with him, and children are 100% present. I think it's us, we mess them up, right? By saying, "Oh, I'm busy,"
Yeah, they
much
corral us back, right?
right. So it's just been great, whether it's climbing that tree, or riding his bike, or just making up stories and games. it's just a lot of fun. And I think what I'm realizing is that that's what a child needs. So no matter what is going on in his life, as long as I can be there for him as a rock, no matter what happens, I'm still there. I'm not snapping at him, because you have helped me heal that part where I'm not taking anything out on my child or even on my partner. It's like managing my own thing. I've become this
I'd call you the Zen divorcee.
Zen. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Zen divorcee. I like that term. Really, really zen about everything that is going on, looking at situations objectively without really bringing my emotional brain and messing everything up and coloring it to
Mhm.
look it different than what it is. So it's been going great, and I'm so grateful for the two of you to have helped me through these conversations, through those meltdowns, and really anchoring in me my gifts, because it is so easy to
Mhm.
just ignore that with that guilt and shame going on. It's so easy to hide
Mhm.
our light, but
Mhm.
you always made sure that you put the spotlight on me so I can see all the gifts that I have, the talents, the natural talents. You have complimented me so many times on being an amazing mother, and I wouldn't have thought about that before.
Well, I mean, first of all, just going back to that, well, you have an innate gift of being present. And when you said that our children teach us to be present, or our children are always present, and that's what they need, I also believe that's what we need. We as parents need to be present as well, because otherwise we're running in circles. We're feeling like crappy parents. And I think that medicine is something that you just innately do. And you taught us so much. When you shared your stories, I thought, wow, this is the way I wish I had done it. This is really the way I wish I had done it. And I wasn't there, and I wasn't that parent. But I think your way, it's why much of the work that we've done has been rolled into our program. You've influenced us greatly about the power of presence. And I'm so glad we could shine that light on you and remind you of what you were doing right, because we're not sugarcoating it. Divorce sucks. It's a hard process, right? You're going to dig up things, you're going to go through things. There are going to be temper tantrums, your children and your own. It will be messy, but it can also be grounded, and we can also gather tools, and we can do it differently. And we can come out of this so that we land at the other end and we're not a frazzled mess, because there is a lot at stake. Forget the time and the money, right? There is a lot at stake emotionally, how we are going to scar our children. What condition are they going to be in? Have they been neglected? Sometimes, like with self-care, we often, especially in divorce, people will say, like, oh, wait a minute, I have so many other pressing things to deal with. I'll deal with self-care on the other end,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Speak to us about that. How did you reinsert that piece into this process, and why was it important? What grew out of that for you?
To add to the list of my revelations, I think this is the third thing that really helped me bring back me back into my life. And that was really understanding who I am. I mean, that could seem like a big philosophical question, which I anyway reflect upon. But in this present, who am I? I think I had lost myself. I had completely forgotten what I really enjoyed and how I had given up doing all those things. So working with you, like you said, you shine the spotlight to look at the parts where I contributed to a certain situation, but also the part that was hidden, the part that really gives me joy, really gets me excited about life. And you were able to shine the light on that also. So as I was clearing and owning up my part, I was also owning up my truth. who I
Mhm.
am, what are the things that I really enjoy. And I was able to bring that back into my life. And now I am, taking the time to sleep well. I sleep 7 to 8 hours. I have started yoga lessons. I found an amazing teacher in India. Again, because I got that clarity. If I wanted to learn yoga, what kind of yoga I want to learn, and I manifested that teacher.
Mhm.
Um, I'm manifesting amazing clients, and they are getting amazing results because now I have found that power within myself. I know how much I can grow and how much I can coach and how much I can teach my clients. So I have these women who are, earning 50, 60,000 more than what they were earning before. They are speaking up in meetings, in boardrooms, and,
Mhm.
making bigger decisions. And I am doing the same. I'm also planning to take some more lessons, like like dancing. I always felt that I didn't even dance before.
Isn't it amazing how we can shove pieces of ourselves away and
Yes.
kind of like compartmentalize and forget about it?
Yes, and basically, I wasn't a priority in my life. When
Mm.
I look back at my life, I wonder, where have I been all these years?
Mhm.
So I was never a priority. So suddenly becoming a priority for myself
Mhm.
without feeling guilty about it, it feels great. It feels great.
So
And I'm doing the things that I love, and I'm doing the things with my son, and it's just easy. And if I could also add one more thing,
you
because
can add whatever you want.
this has been such an amazing journey for me. In the past, I would constantly worry about, oh, what are the activities I can do with my son, and then try to plan, and that would exhaust me, right,
Mhm.
thinking about the next activity. But again, as I got clear on, I don't need to do that, I just let my son guide me. So I just
Mhm.
ask him, okay, what do you want to do after we come home? And I give him two or three choices, and then he
Yeah,
picks from that, and we do that. And then that activity leads to another. So that has taken away that stress from parenting. And
right.
there is one rule for me: no screen time.
That's such a salient point because divorce can be overwhelming and it can feel like you're just putting out fires everywhere. And then, like, the last thing you want to think about is, like, what am I going to do with my kid? And what am I going to feed my kid? And all these things. But when we also embroil our children and we enfold them into the process, it's like I've said to you many times, you don't have to have all the answers. And sometimes you can just turn the question back and say, well, what would you like to do today? Or what do you think would make us feel good? Or we're having a bad day. What could we do to shift that? We are not the all-knowing. We don't have to have all the answers. We will show up with our mess some days. We will have to clean it up other days. We will, that's life, right? When I heard you speaking, the word that kept coming up for me is reclaiming, that you really have reclaimed yourself in this process, which I don't think people normally associate divorce with reclaiming. They see the ugly side of it, but then they forget that within that, sometimes having to see what we don't want to see, we find, like you so aptly described, we reclaim these beautiful pieces of ourselves and say, you know what? I actually do like to hike, and I do want to dance, and I do like to eat vanilla ice cream cones with colored sprinkles,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
You
Um,
are so right. Reclaiming is the perfect word. Yeah, I'm reclaiming myself. Divorce is, it's you grieve through that process because you're,
mhm,
losing a big chunk, of the life that you have spent with your partner, and you grieve through that. I mean, there is no question about that. But then at the same time, you also start seeing yourself in a different light, the way you have never seen before, and the possibilities that open up for you, and the things that you can do for yourself, and how simple it is to enjoy, little pleasures of life, and not having to be that person who's trying to control and manage and take care of everything. You can just let that go and
mhm.
allow that process of blossoming, and really knowing yourself, and prioritizing yourself. and everything just falls in place.
Really is about, again, deep-rooted healing. And this is why you have so successfully been moving through this process, is because not because it was easy, not because it was not without pain, but because you were willing to show up for it. You were willing to say, okay, I want to look at that. Sometimes things resonated more than other things, but you were willing to look at it. And when we're willing to look at things, that's how we break patterns. Because we can all look back in our life and see things. Oh, I did that here. I did that here. I did that here. You know, I see this now. I don't want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want to reclaim really my true essence, right? This true identity of who you are that got lost along the way. And again, it's not about blaming anyone else, and it's not about controlling anyone else.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that is maybe where you were when you began this process? What would you say to someone that might be hesitating and thinking, I don't have time for a coach. I don't know, like, I don't know how I can fit that in. What would you say to someone that might be like sitting on the fence?
Yeah, that's a great question. One thing I'll say is what you don't know, you don't know, right? So if you do not know how much easier the process can become for you, if you do not know that, you wouldn't opt for it. But here's the thing: if you are terrified of what's going to happen after divorce, if this is even a right decision or not, and if you're going into that blaming mode, either blaming yourself or blaming your partner, or if you're worried about how the future is going to look like, then you don't have to worry alone. Because I mean, you guys, I mean, we have been working together. And have you made me work? Yes, you have. But you have that process, that system, that confidence, because the two of you have been through that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And you had so much to share, your own experiences, and it was so encouraging and comforting for me. I mean, I can't even imagine people who do not get this support, what they might be going through. For me, it feels because of your support, everything is easy, like literally easy. Everything. I mean, I had so many sessions where I cried, but you were there to hold me, to give me that space. But if you are on your own, it's terrible. It's very lonely, it's sad, and you basically could be trialing and erroring, and you could be trialing the wrong things,
Mm-hmm.
and it would take so much long to get there. So if you are on the fence whether to hire a coach or not, jump in, jump in. Get on a call with Bill and Kristen, and figure out what your goals are. I'll tell you, they'll help you get there if you are the perfect client for them.
This is really, this is work from the heart for us. You know, we've been through it. We've been through divorces that were messy and bumpy, and we made mistakes. And it's so amazing to be on the other side and to see that it can be done differently, and to impart this wisdom, because really it's kind of the way we approach anything, right? Or any adversity in life. How do you want to get through it? Like, we're not going to be able to avoid it, right? I know people looking at you today, hearing about your accomplishments and seeing where you are, and actually your calmness is so palpable. They can't probably imagine that you are on the other end of this, in this sort of frenetic place where we all feel fear and upheaval, and where am I going to live, and what am I going to do, and how are my kids going to be, and how am I going to be, am I ever going to be in love again, or who am I, oh my god, this just it's just a lot. And so I'm, again, just so grateful to have been invited into your journey and to have held your hand. I so deeply appreciate and love your kind words about us and our program and our guidance, but we stood beside you and we held your hand and we guided you, but you did it. You did it. And that is the most beautiful thing. That really is like, pushing you out of the nest and saying, like, it's time to fly. You've got this. We just kept extending our sessions and then realized you don't need this anymore. We love talking to you, but you're doing all the right things. This brings me back to one thing I wanted to just ask you if you could share with us that when we were in the beginning of this process, from day one, right, I asked you to create your divorce declaration, something in the program we have, the divorce declaration, which is something that basically helps you create a framework about how you want to feel and how you want to travel through this process, whether it's, how you want to feel, your time, your money, your well-being, your child, your career. Tell us how you felt when we asked you to do that day one.
Well, when I wrote that declaration on day one, I just dreamt how I wanted my life to look like, as I'm going through this process of divorce and helping my son get through the other side along with me. I wrote it, but I was really skeptical if that was going to happen. But then I also remember on the last day, as we were saying goodbye, and I read them out loud, and everything that I had written on it, I was able to accomplish. And I had not looked at it, through the time that we were working together. But on the last day, I looked at it and I couldn't believe it that I achieved all the goals that I had set for myself. It was
It still makes me want to cry just thinking about that, because that day, I mean, obviously I remember the first day and it was like, okay, I'm going to that bridge, Bill. I'll write those declarations. You're like, and we were giving you prompts like, things like this and things like this. And it's, of course it's normal because everything's in chaos, right? And, it doesn't feel natural in that moment to be able to say, well, one, to be able to say, I get to create this journey. Like I get to create what the reality of this is going to unfold as. But then again, I don't think we talked about it for months. And having you read that divorce declaration out loud, when I said to you, it wasn't even just go back to it. I said, would you read those words? And you read it. And we all just felt like we were going to, burst into tears, which I feel like right now, just because that's the power. That's the power of transformation. That's the power of healing. That's the power of showing up for the work.
Yeah. And that's what I'll say to your audience. If they are in the early stages of their divorce, they might feel that, oh, I don't know, there's so much unknown and I don't know if I want to invest. But the price you will pay by not getting help is gonna be multiple times than getting this help and really getting to the other side, feeling free, reclaiming yourself. And especially if you have children, it's a game changer. So jump in, don't think twice. And you guys, you transformed my life. What else can I say?
I can say it right back to you. You transformed our lives. Really. I mean, it is, again, I say it's like being invited into a slice of grace. It's like when you stand beside someone and you witness this process, because this process is really, yes, it's about you. We're working with you, but it has its natural trickle down, most importantly, to your child. And then it even has trickled down to your partner. I mean, all divorces look different. They come in different shapes and sizes and acrimony, right? But it can influence, it can trickle down and have great impact on not just your experience of the divorce, right?
Yeah, so true. So true.
Before we leave off, though, I want to also say that people may be surprised to know that you're still in the divorce process, but you are a vastly different person. And I think anyone watching can see why I call you the poster girl for the right way to divorce. Because as of today, you have a new living arrangement that you love. Yes. You are confidently navigating your relationship with your archaeologist. You are spreading your wings. You're trying new things. Your business is taken off and you're thriving in all aspects. You really and truly are the face of divorce and testament to what is possible when you show up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for showing me. I don't want to say the way, but I think you have really given me. Well, actually, you have shown me the way. You have shown me what is possible, what is on the other side of bridge. Now I'm actually on the bridge. I have come to the other side,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see what a big difference it makes. You know, when you have the right kind of support. It has just been a very revealing journey for me, but very satisfying, very, very life-giving. I'm just very glad that our paths crossed.
Oh, I can't even tell you. And, and also just for anybody listening to your story, you had to face all of those fears. You had to face all of those fears of where am I going to live? How am I going to support myself? What's this going to look like? Two houses.
Scaling my business
Scaling
because
everything,
I
just
wasn't
everything.
doing great there as well, and it certainly has changed.
Right. But you had to face all of those things with uncertainty. And the thing that I so admire is that you have navigated these things, not to say there haven't been bumps or there haven't been fears, but you have navigated this so peacefully, so respectfully, so kindly, so mindfully with your partner that it's really gone very, very smoothly. Would you agree?
Yes, I completely agree with you. Yes.
And at the end of the day, that's what's really most beneficial for all involved, especially for your child.
100%. 100%.
Well, thank you for sharing your heart and your journey and your big, beautiful smile and your story with us. It's probably going to feel like salve for someone who's on the other side of this. For you to show up and to share what's possible will make them see a bit of themselves in your story and know that it's possible for them too.
Yes, it is. It is very possible. If I can do it, you can do it. Just do the work, be committed to the outcome, and trust the process. And there's no reason why you wouldn't get to the other side.
Thank you, Mrinalini. Thank you so, so, so very much.
Thank you.
And I know you probably have to get off to some, go collect some dinosaur bones, but keep us up to date,
I will.